Good morning. Good morning. I am getting used to getting back in the swing of rise and shine. So come on in. Get on in here. Let's get this morning started. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm sending you all the love that I've got this morning from Pleasantville. So I want to thank everybody for sending some love my way last week when I really needed it. It was a sad week in Pleasantville, but we are on the mend and we are loving extra, 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 extra on Charlie. So all is well in the world at this moment. But today's message I want to share with you is about victory. Okay, which means we triumph, which means we win in the end. For it is victory, right? But sometimes we struggle. But I want to remind you that the struggle is quite possibly part of the process, part of the journey to get where it is that you want to get to. But more importantly, I want to remind you that that is likely a perceived struggle, not necessarily a real one. Okay. Because if we look at things a little bit differently, then the truth is the struggle was just part of the process. But how would we ever get to where we want to be if we didn't go through that struggle? If you think way back to basic things that we learned how to do, walking. In the process of walking, for the very first time as a child, isn't there a lot of struggle? Isn't there a lot of times that baby falls down? But how does that baby learn to actually pull up and walk if baby never falls down? How do you learn to get past and overcome the things that happen to us if we don't sometimes fall down? Now, if I had been able to look at my life way back when and see that coaching was the ultimate prize of the work that I would do, maybe I would have understood my journey a little bit sooner. But I didn't start off being no life coach, y'all. Hell, wasn't even a thing at the time that I started entrepreneuring 16 years ago. But I would not be qualified to sit in this chair now and do what I do with each of you if it were not for what was sometimes a hell of a struggle. But I wouldn't trade them. I wouldn't trade them. I wouldn't trade my struggles in work. I wouldn't trade my struggles in love. I wouldn't trade my struggles in my own becoming me in my personal life, because they have made me exactly who I am today. And so I get a chance to be me and own living my life the way that I truly desire, because I haven't been through some shit. And quite simply, the shit that I've been through, it made me great. So if that's true for me, then it's also absolutely 100% true for you. So I want to help you reframe your struggles this morning. We could all look at that moment on November 2nd. I don't even remember what year it was now, maybe 2017, when President Trump became President Trump. I remember it well because I was running for alderman at the time. Y'all remember Alderman Sunshine? When I thought I wanted to be a politician, ultimately that lesson taught me that I might be a great political consultant, but that I do not have what it takes to be a politician, because there are some ugly days in that process sometimes. But that's beside the point. Yet it was a very valuable learning lesson. But I want to go back. Think about the moment where Trump becomes president and we are like, oh shit, we in trouble now. And we absolutely were. But I want you to think about how far down he took us to this last year, to where so many of the trials of racism for decades became triumph after George Floyd was murdered. I want you to even just think about the fact that the whole world not the state, not the country, but the entire world united around George Floyd's murder because it was of the worst of things that could ever happen. And so the country united. The country united and created a new situation, which we would not currently be in a situation to have the first female Black vice president ever in the history of this country if it hadn't been for Trump. She will be the next president. Take that in. The worst president had to occur to get all of these Black women in power that are in power in the country right now. To have Stacey Abrams making the difference that she made would not have been possible if not for the ultimate failure or struggle that the country went through in order for President Trump to get out of office. So if that's true for the whole country and the whole world to unite, why do we think sometimes we ain't got to go through some shit in order for our lives to become victorious? So this past weekend, I hosted a pageant, and one of the components of the pageant was for the women to share their Phoenix Rising story. You know, the Phoenix rises from the ashes. And so they told story after story of trial to triumph. And each of these stories made us all cry. There wasn't a dry eye in the room during this time because there's something about everybody's story that we can connect to, that we can relate to, because we all been through something. So I want you to think about what you might be going through right now. I want you to think about what the journey might be like at the moment. And then I want you to take a deep breath, and I want you to start to visualize what greatness is budding out of this struggle. If you are currently on the upswing and you are in the middle of your victory, I want you to celebrate your victory, and I want you to look back at that struggle that has come, and I want you to smile with gratitude because you made it. So whether you are currently making it through a struggle, whether you are currently celebrating your victory, or whether you are a person who feels like you might be on the precipice of a struggle, I want you to know it's temporary. Whatever it is it is temporary, and it is a part of your story. You know what the church folks say. You got to get tested to have a testimony. It's true. That ain't just for church folk. It's true for all of us, because everything that we've been through makes us stronger. Everything that we've been through makes us wiser. Everything that we've been through puts us exactly where we're supposed to be, because it makes us exactly who we are supposed to be. And so I want you to just sit back, and I want you to revel in your joys, the little ones that you've had currently and